On June 6, 1944, the Allies launched the biggest amphibian landing operation the world has ever seen, Operation Neptune. 175,000 men stormed the beaches of Normandy in France, reopening the second front in Europe against Nazi Germany.
This is Robert St. John in the NBC newsroom in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, we may be approaching a fateful hour. All night long, bulletins have been pouring in from Berlin, claiming that D-Day is here.
50 miles of landing zone was divided into 5 different sectors: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. Despite having the element of surprise, the Allied troops suffered great casualties, one of which was more devastating than all the others. At Omaha Beach, the US soldiers experienced the greatest difficulties in achieving their objective. The price they paid on this beach rightfully earned it the nickname Bloody Omaha. As an assault force for securing Omaha Beach, the US Army engaged 43,000 men of the 5th Corps, organized into 2 regimental combat teams. The first was a 16 RCT, made of the 16th Infantry Regiment of the 1st Infantry Division. This was the most experienced unit in the entire US Army, the second being the 116th RCT, made of the 116th Infantry Regiment of the National Guard 29th Infantry Division. Each team was allotted a tank battalion for fire support. The 741st Tank Battalion was assigned to the 16th Infantry. The 743rd Tank Battalion offered support to the 116th Infantry. Both groups also included engineering teams, whose task it was to breach German obstacles on the beach. As extra support, the 2nd and 5th Ranger Battalions were added and tasked with destroying the German artillery battery at the nearby Pointe du Hoc village.
Hey there! Did you know that about 90% of the viewers didn't subscribe yet? Well, if you're one of them, please subscribe.
In March 1944, the battle-hardened 352nd Infantry Division replaced the undermanned 716th Infantry Division at the Bayou sector of the Normandy defenses. The unit consisted of Eastern Front veterans and rookies. It consisted of 3 regiments: the 914th, 915th, and 916th regiments, reinforced with the 726th Infantry Regiment of the 716th Infantry Division. The strength of the German defense was 7,800 men strong. These men were organized into 13 strongpoints of Wheelerstone's Nester, and organized in such a way so that every strongpoint could provide covering fire to neighboring strongpoints. The assault sectors at Omaha were codenamed by the US Army from west to east as Charlie, Dark Green, Dog White, Dog Red, Easy Green, Easy Red, and Fox Green. The plan was for the 116th RCT to take control of the Dog sectors and Easy Green sector. And for the 16th RCT, the goal was to take control of Easy Red and Fox Green. As it turned out, as the battle unveiled, the situation on the beach made the plan completely futile. Between 0200 and 0300 hours, on the morning of June 6, 1944, the Allied fleet arrived off the coast of Normandy. As they approached the transport area, the soldiers embarked on transport ships on waves that were up to 6 feet tall. As they approached the coast, they expected that the Navy and Air Force had already prepared the field for their arrival. But the truth was completely different, as the Navy and Air Force had missed their targets due to bad weather. Not a single strongpoint was destroyed during the first assault wave on Omaha Beach. Infantry couldn't even rely on amphibious Sherman tanks that were meant to provide covering fire on the beach. Out of 29 tanks of the 741st Tank Battalion, only 2 managed to make it onto the beach. Others sunk to the bottom of the canal, as high waves were too much for their flotation screens to handle. Bad weather also forced the landing craft to disembark troops further from the beach than expected. Those who didn't drown had to make great efforts to reach the beach, fighting in waves while wearing heavy equipment. Those who reached the beach were too exhausted to advance through beach obstacles. Assault troops were exposed to German fire as soon as the rams of the LCPs were dropped. Exposed to fire from deadly MG42 machine guns, 76mm field guns, 50mm mortars, and 50mm mounted guns. Many soldiers were killed instantly before they even had the chance to jump into the water. But this was not the end for the American troops, as low tides and high winds caused many of the landing crafts to land east of their designated zones. Of the 9 companies of the first wave, only 2 landed where they were supposed to. Others were lost as they found themselves in unfamiliar terrain. With the command structure broken and only a few tanks to support them, the American troops were forced to organize 80 Hawk units and act on their own. At 0700 hours, the second wave approached the beach. They were expecting to land on clear terrain, but were welcomed in the same manner as the first wave. By 0900 hours, casualties were around 50%. The greatest fighting took place around the strongpoint WN62. The first breakthrough was when soldiers of Easy Company of the 16th Infantry discovered a gap between the 2 enemy strongpoints. After they had reached the hill, they climbed it and made a lateral attack on the German bunkers. Since soldiers on the beach were lacking heavy firepower, a decision was made to send in destroyers to assist in the assault. These destroyers approached a distance of 1,000 yards from the beach, risking becoming shipwrecked and being targeted by German forces. It was because of this assistance and fire from tanks on the ground that German forces began to fade. By noon, many strongpoints had been neutralized, many of which had run out of ammunition. Assault forces managed to make 4 major breaches, 1 on Dog White, 2 on Easy Red, and 1 on Fox Green. By the end of the day, the breaches were widened, allowing for more progress inland. As D-Day was coming to an end, assault forces were still in a vulnerable situation on Omaha Beach, as the beach was not fully secured yet. Fortunately, the Allied air power managed to cut off German reinforcements, and other sectors had even more success. Due to this, the Germans could not launch a counterattack. The 16th and 116th Regimental Combat Teams managed to secure a territory of 1,000 yards wide and 2,000 to 3,000 yards deep. For this small area, they paid a great price. 2,000 to 5,000 men were either killed, wounded, or missing in action. It was only after 2 days that the initial D-Day task was completed. The beachhead was secured, and a connection was made with Goal Sector. Of all 5 beaches, Omaha was the only beach where the Allied troops were in danger of complete defeat. Due to the improvisation of the soldiers on the beaches, they were able to turn an initial disaster into a victory later on. That was our video on D-Day. If you liked the video, consider subscribing and leaving a like. If you want to know what our sources were, you can always click the link in our description. It will lead you to our website, and on our website you can see all our links.